This is Subject to Approval, where we dive into the chaos, challenges and curveballs of today's business and agency world. No jargon, no waffle, just fast, fearless conversations about what's breaking and what's working in your business today. Hello again. I'm Stephen McGuinness from Artemis. Welcome to the Subject to Approval podcast. 10 to 15 minutes where we share information, insight, data and a point of view that you might not have considered and could be super helpful to you. So today I'm going to go off the beaten track a bit into an area that you might not have thought of as being a training, coaching or development subject. So as well as doing the fantastic work with Artemis, I'm also the author of a few books, including this one, Surfing the Asian Wave. And today I want to dive into something that every agency working across APAC should think more about: cross-cultural awareness and the actions that would come from that. Now, I'm not talking about equity, I'm not talking about inclusion, diversity. That's a much bigger mouthful than I'm going to try and chew on. What I'm talking about is the pragmatic, actionable awareness that will directly impact an agency's bottom line. So before you roll your eyes and you say, yeah, we get it, people across APAC are different, just stay with me. Because understanding the differences isn't just about being polite, and it's not just about being politically correct, and that also understanding doesn't necessarily drive action. So what I'm talking about is about creating work that actually works across APAC and resonates and connects and ticks the boxes and makes happy clients, consumers, and even within your own teams. So I'll tell you a story. It happened to me, but it happens dozens of times across APAC every single day. So I went into the Southeast Asia client's boardroom, big senior client team there. I'm walking in with the cool Australian agency, big energy. We had the big slick deck. We had the usual break the rules, stand out, be bold kind of ideas and creative. And the work was super high quality, and the team had spent weeks on it. Presented to the room, bam, bam, bam. Finished. The full Southeast Asia client team sat there in silence. And I don't just mean awkward silence, I mean funeral silence. You could actually hear the fluorescent lights buzzing. Then afterwards, the client very politely says, "That was very interesting. We will discuss it internally and come back to you," which of course means not a chance. So the problem wasn't the quality of the work. It wasn't the effort that had been put into. It wasn't even the understanding of the brief. All that was absolutely spot on. The issue was the cultural operating system the work had been built on. So without even realizing it, the team had built the ideas on values like individuality and disruption, things that we don't even question, but we value from our Western perspective as being something to strive for, something to be respected, something to really want to put on that pedestal of disruption, individualism, forward-looking, all those things that we just see as being, well, we don't even see them. They're just part of who we are and how we view the world. But the audience valued respect, harmony, collective slow progress. Neither was wrong. They were just coming from a different foundation. Had the same goal, engaging the consumer, changing behaviors, driving purchase, all the same things. But there was a different playbook being required. And neither really saw that the other had a fundamentally different viewpoint on that. So that's why I wrote the book, Surfing the Asian Wave, because I've seen so many smart, talented, experienced professionals crashing when they hit a different culture and not necessarily even understanding why. So what is culture? And well, culture isn't just a flag. Culture isn't a type of food. It's not a particular set of holidays. Culture, for our purposes, is an invisible operating system that dictates how people think, decide, and behave. And often we are blinded by the visible similarities, and we're not aware of the deeper differences that are less visible. So we land in a new country, we go to a new city, we see Starbucks, we see Toyotas, we see Armani suits, we see Apple phones. Everything looks the same, and it does on the surface. But underneath that, there's fundamentally different viewpoints on values, on time, on family, on individuality, around reciprocity, around risk, around face. The invisible elements that make a culture and bind a people are not the kind of phone they have or the kind of coffee shop they visit. So in the West, particularly in the creative industries, we're taught to challenge, we're taught to question, we're taught to push. But in many other contexts around the world, people are taught to respect, they're taught to consider, they're taught to preserve harmony. So when the Western creative director asks any feedback, and the local team smiles and says, yes, yes, very good, they don't always mean yes. It might mean, we don't understand. It might mean, I don't agree. But it might mean, I just don't want to embarrass you. Or it might mean, none of us should lose face in front of the group. It's not dishonesty. It's not even disingenuity. It's empathy being expressed differently. And a misunderstanding, just like that in a small moment, can take people off in completely different directions. That's where many agency campaigns, many pieces of work, and many client-agency relationships can misfire. So I've personally seen global campaigns collapse because of how feedback was interpreted. I've seen amazing local insights being ignored because they weren't delivered in the way that the global team understood. Culture runs deep. It shapes timelines, it shapes hierarchy, it shapes risk-taking, it shapes humor, it even shapes font and color choice. Singapore, red is prosperity. In Europe, it's danger. In Thailand, laughing at a mistake is politeness, it's not mockery. In Japan, silence is a sign of respect, it's not awkward. Now, these aren't little trivial facts, there's hundreds of these, but they're landmines creatively and in terms of relationship building. So what does that mean for agencies across APAC or global teams working across APAC? It's not a soft issue, it's a performance issue that will directly impact revenue and profitability. If your hybrid team misunderstands each other's tone or priorities, the work suffers, the efficiency is lost. If the pitch fails, not because of bad work or lack of effort, but because it's presented in the wrong way to the wrong person with the wrong emphasis, that's a huge commercial loss. You didn't just lose the pitch, you lost all that money and time you put into it. If the campaign launches but just does not connect with the local consumers at all because of a fundamental misread of what they wanted, that's brand equity down the drain. So I've seen Western planners build campaigns around individual freedom in markets that prize family identity. I've seen clients in meetings nod along and then quietly change everything after the approval because it just wasn't right. I would not say any of this is malicious. It's not even any attempt to undermine each other. It's just a cultural drift and an attempt to make that right. So the digital tools, I mean, they're great. Translation apps, AI copy checkers, all our cross-border Zoom meetings, they're fantastic. They make the collaboration faster, but not necessarily clearer. Things can move instantly, but understanding and meaning doesn't. We can get to wrong a lot faster, but we might still be getting to wrong. So I heard somebody say, if you're managing a multicultural team, you're not managing people, you're managing assumptions. And I really like that. we are looking at a set of stereotypes, presumptions, and preconceptions when we're looking at other teams, other people, other clients, other consumers. We're not really grounding it in our understanding or our knowledge. So how do we get it right? How do we ride the wave instead of wiping out? I guess first step is going to be curiosity. Simply don't assume you know. Ask. When you're working with a cross-cultural team, don't just say any questions. Perhaps it's what might be seen differently here. What might I not know? What, as an outsider, would I not necessarily be aware of? When your client goes quiet, don't necessarily panic. Perhaps it's a case of asking, what would it help if we share some alternatives? What do you feel is a perspective we haven't built in here? How would you adjust this to make it resonate more? Open up, open those big open questions rather than just allow it to get closed down. Then I guess just ensuring we've really got mixed teams, not just token ones. Diversity isn't just about how people look or what passport they're holding. It's actually about different perspectives. And the creative magic, the multiplier happens when you've got local insight, global creativity, on-the-ground experience, all coming together in some fantastic Venn diagram. That magic is in the middle. And then I guess just to don't think of this cultural understanding as a nice to have. Treat it like SEO or UX. It's a skill that you need to have to be able to operate. It's something you need to be able to bring to the table with the client and with your teams. It's not just a touchy-feely nice to have. And finally, just for this point anyway, flip that mindset. Don't take your westernized global work and try and Asianize it. Think in terms of global work, of which the Western and the Asian viewpoints may be considered within it, or develop something purely from the Asian point of view, and then see if it's possible to Westernize that. Flip it around, flip your perspectives, flip your viewpoints, look from the inside out, not the outside in. Because APAC isn't just another market. When you look at the way the UK, Europe, the US are kind of going down the toilet economically, APAC is the global growth engine. And if you can't connect with clients, with teams, with consumers here, then you're missing out, not just on the future, but on the right now. And as I say, to go back to my point earlier, awareness of all of this is great. You know, it's brilliant to have the mindset and have the awareness and think about these things, but that helps you see what's happening around you. But to thrive in it, you need to know what to do differently. And this is one of those magic skills that we seem to think people know or they don't know. We seem to think that, you know, people are aware of this or not aware of this. So like being left-handed or right-handed. They're good at football. They're not good. It's not. This is a training issue. This is an understanding issue. This is about raising these elements, communicating the importance of them, breaking it down into chunks, and giving people the ability to understand how this all interacts and the layers of the puzzle, but also then how that informs the moves they're going to make. What do I mean? Knowing that some cultures value harmony above progress doesn't necessarily teach you how to give feedback. Knowing that short-term and long-term mean different things in different cultures doesn't immediately inform how you write your planning. Knowing the importance of individualism versus collectivism varies widely across cultures doesn't steer the strategy on its own. The knowledge and, to a degree, even the understanding does not necessarily inform what to do about that. That requires some structured training. Knowing that yes can also mean no is fundamental. Just knowing it doesn't help you know what to do about that. So cultural training, I mean, it's not about changing who you are. It's just about expanding your toolkit and your abilities and your set of skills. Knowing when to be assertive, knowing when to listen, knowing when to push for clarity, when to show a bit of patience, knowing, and this is my own personal failing, knowing when to make that joke and when just to stay shut up. And if you're a team working across borders, and let's be honest, really who isn't, the cultural competence isn't an optional extra. Cultural competence is a survival tool. You can have the best data, you can have the best strategy, you can have the biggest, boldest, most brilliant idea, but if it doesn't translate culturally and you're not able to sell it in and explain it and get buy-in, it's not going to work. So that's why the book's called Surfing the Asian Wave, because it's not about paddling harder, it's about reading the waves and letting them push you in to shore. So wherever you are, Bangkok, Jakarta, Manila, Seoul, Sydney, take a moment, ask yourself and your team, do you really understand the people we're creating this for? Do we really understand the team we're creating it with? Really? Fundamentally? Deep down? If not, and let's be honest, it's probably not, it's time to grab the board and take some lessons. We can structure training, whether it's looking at coaching, group training, one-to-one, virtual, to help you with your needs to get on this surfboard. So thanks for listening. Cross-cultural cohesion, cross-cultural competence is something that we should all be thinking about. It's prime, it's right there, and again, it's a bottom line issue. So I'm Steve McGuinness from Artemis. Feel free to drop us a note, give us a call, send us a Zoom, and we'd love to have a conversation about what we can do for you. Thank you for listening. Work can be tough, but you don't have to figure it out alone. We're here to help for coaching, workshops, or just a smart second opinion. Let's talk. Contact hello@artemisapac.com. We're Artemis, and we get it.